Welcome to a new adventure week. We just drove 2 hours from Charlotte, and if you've been following this adventure since the beginning of the year, you may recognize the scenery here because I am back in Columbia, South Carolina. I came here in February to look at some very, very old American fastening machines from the 1930s, and we're back this time to give a couple of talks and to do a little bit more deep research on the machines and the stones of J. Harry Howard. So now it's hot and humid and I'm here with the doggy and I'm coming with my name on the... Oh, so the last time when I was here I forgot to take photos or a video of the Howard collection. So this is the contents, all these boxes of J. Harry Howard's basement when he died, and his wife took all of his faceting stuff and put it into 40 boxes, or I guess the museum put it into 40 boxes, but they came and got everything, and it's been here since the middle of the 60s. And each one of these things has a ton of stuff. Some of it has stones, some of it has gear, you know, dops, brushes. Here we've got, what's in here? Box of specimens, different rocks. A lot of the boxes had his rough. So he's obviously been drilling out of here. He's got these cigar boxes that are just full of different minerals, specimens, faceting rough, yeah, opals, and yeah, he just got all the scraps. You know, if you're a gem cutter and you know what a gem cutting workshop looks like, you recognize what all the leftovers look like. You know, the pieces that you sawed off already, the pieces that you found and didn't ever do anything with. So for J. Harry Howard, his collection of leftovers is forever commemorated down here in the archives. Here's Howard's transfer jig. So I guess you could put all four of the screws down, hold the stone in there, and then put your dop, and then later on you could get it to the other side. So this, who knows when this was made, anywhere between 1935 and probably 1968 or something like that when he died. So we're in the elevator. Yeah. With J. Harry Howard's handpiece, or fastening machine.
Real steel.
I imagine...
Not believe it.
I imagine this is the first time it's been out of here since it came in the 60s.
Pretty good chance.
First time these things have ever seen daylight probably in 40, 50, 60 years. They probably never saw daylight anyway because they were in the basement the whole time. So our research mode is over. We're in the museum, and they even have some of Howard's faceted stones on display with some of the minerals that they already had showing before and after cutting, which is kind of cool. So after 2 intense days of talks and videos and documenting things, we are on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, hanging out with family, and we just learned what a shibumi is, and it's beautiful. So what are we making here?
We're making a maple glazed salmon.
It's looking good. What do you think?
It's so good.
Yeah, that So we're gonna take a little morning walk with Milo, but no!
We were at the Church of the Cross in Bluffton, South Carolina. This church was built in 1854, and it was one of the few buildings that Sherman did not burn down in his march through the South during the Civil War. The original church dates back to 1767, but burned down in a fire. They rebuilt it in 1854.
We are at Zuni's Cafe in Savannah, Georgia, and I just was reunited with one of my best friends on earth, Justin K. Prim, the wizard, gym cutting man himself. Boom!
The last time we were spinning around, we were in Las Vegas.
Oh, that's right.
We are at the Marriott in Savannah. After running into my good buddy Rob, we heard that there was a bunch of gemstones in this hotel, and it's true. Let's go check it out. What do you think? Is this scary? Bro, Peaches and Milo. There you go. It's Friday morning. We just left South Carolina. We're in Georgia on the way to Jacksonville to go see some fastening machines, but we saw the sign for Peach World and we had to stop. I've been waiting for Georgia peaches this whole time, so let's check it out. Oh, peach candy. Got peach everything. Peach beets, peach apple butters, peach cobbler syrup, peach Tostitos. They even got astronaut ice cream peach flavor. We're in Florida. We've touched Floridian soil. It's called Fernandina Beach, but we don't actually see any beach. But it's cool. Maybe that cool part's over there. So I just arrived at the Jacksonville Gem and Mineral Society. I've heard that they have a great collection of old vintage machines, and we're gonna do an interview or two, so let's check it out, see what this club is like.
The second Bill Woolley meter ever made.
Oh, wow.
It was donated by Dave Woolley, and he lives over in Gainesville.
Oh, wow.
On the graves,
Uh-huh.
because they're a beast. You can't hurt them.
Yeah, good for beginners.
We've got two Ultratechs, a V5 and a V2, plus a
I
facet
like that
one.
old V2.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one I wish I could have.
So how does your guys' class work? Is it you just cut one stone and that's the class, or?
You start off cutting a stone, yeah. These are stones I've cut, and they start off cutting a simple stone.
Okay, it's just an 8/8.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
they're all stones that then you can go wherever you want. This was my second stone, and it was really...
so then once,
Have to walk through it. And we have all the equipment. It's really pretty awesome. We've got the polishing wheels, the Dremel, the Proxon, the different sanding belts and things, and everything for everybody to learn, so they don't have to bring their own stuff. So it's pretty awesome.
grits and
grits,
stuff?
sorry.
Yeah,
Like
more
the,
the polish.
this one has a higher grit, so this is the high polish machine, but all the
Okay.
rest of them have multiples. There's a couple of them have it one intermediate wheel, but the others don't. But generally, everybody gets their own.
Feed through.
Okay, and then yeah, you can just kind of relax in here when you're. Got the custom bathroom work with the club stuff right on it. That is nice. We ran into a lush shop. You know what that means. It's 7:30 on Saturday morning, and I am barely awake. We had a really cool day yesterday, and seeing some of those really cool old machines, the prototype Ultratechs and the first generation Ultratechs, and the Golden Beauty, and just some of the other oddities that they have there, and just talking to the club members and seeing probably one of the coolest clubs that I've been to so far on this trip. Really, really fun. I think the rest of this weekend is gonna be really intense though. We have like 9 hours of driving today. We're gonna try to get to a museum near Greenville, South Carolina before it closes. After 7 hours of driving, we made it from Florida to Georgia to South Carolina, and we are currently in Clemson University at the Bob Campbell Geology Museum. We're back on the trail of J. Harry Howard, one of the significant characters in the book that I'm writing and one of the significant figures in the history of American gem cutting. So he donated minerals to this museum. He also trained somebody as a cutter whose son is on the board here. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to talk to him today because it's Saturday and he's not here, but we are going to go check out the museum and hopefully see some minerals or even cut stones that Howard himself donated here. So let's check it out.
Jersey, a world-famous site for collecting these rare fluorescent minerals. As the lights dim, some of the minerals begin to finely fluorescent red, and most of the green colors are from a mineral called willemite. The bright green mineral at the middle of the display is a specimen of opal from a chalk mine in western North Carolina.
We didn't find any stones specifically attributed to J. Harry Howard, but it seems like if there are some, it would be in the faceted stone section. These ones down here look pretty vintage, but there's no way of knowing for sure. We tried to look for some of his signature cuts, but kind of hard to tell. We saw some of these cabs at the McKissick Museum. I didn't know what stone they were, unikite. But these could also be some of Howard's cabs, who knows? So here we see a collection of stones cut by Paul Benson Jr. Paul Benson Sr. was a student of Howard's and I think an early curator of the museum, though I'm not totally sure about that. So it looks like the faceted stones were by Paul Benson Jr. So after a 30-minute drive from the museum, we're now in Greenville, South Carolina, which was the home of J. Harry Howard for most of his life. And for pretty much his whole adult life, he lived at the same house, which was 504 Crescent Street. And unfortunately, his house was torn down in 1994 to build this one. But I just wanted to come and kind of just check out his neighborhood. He was the president of the electrical engineering firm that he worked at by the time that he retired. So I kind of just wanted to see what his neighborhood was like. It looks pretty ritzy. There's a lot of really big houses here. Pretty much every house on the street is pretty much kind of a mansion. At least that's what I would term it. So let's just get a little look at the neighborhood. I don't know what Howard's house was like, but this house is pretty fancy. And if he lived in a place like that, he must have been doing pretty well. considering it was in the middle of the Great Depression. So we're in downtown Greenville, just walking along the river and imagining that J. Harry Howard probably once walked along this river too. What do you think? Can you feel the spirit of J. Harry Howard here?
No.
Oh.
I feel the spirit of the river.
I wanted to find a place that was here when J. Harry Howard was alive, and it just so happens to be this sweet old-timey drive-in right across the street from where Howard is buried. Unfortunately, the mausoleum was closed because it's Saturday afternoon, but his spirit's laying in there somewhere with his bones. Meanwhile, we're gonna have milkshakes. We left at about 8 o'clock this morning, and it's about 10 o'clock at night. We went from Florida to Georgia to South Carolina. Now we're back in Georgia. So we just arrived at William Holland Lapidary School. We are about to get a tour. I've never been here before. I've always wanted to see it, so I will share my discovery with you guys.
Hi, my name is Dave McGregor. I'm the Fasting 1 teacher here at William Holland this week. And the objective is to help someone who is new to faceting to be able to understand how to cut a stone and to actually cut a stone during class. We will talk about the fasting machines, how to operate them. We'll talk about cutting diagrams and the different laps, the use of the laps, polishing, and I'll also talk a little bit about why a designer designs his stone with the angles that he uses. And then finally we'll touch a little bit on GemCAD Studio and finish up the class.
Well, a lot depends on whether you have newbies or experienced people. If they're newbies, I have to start from the very beginning and show them how to trim out a slab.
Okay. So each student gets they get one station basically, and they can go through all the steps. Long driving day. So far we've been in North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee. Now we're in Kentucky. We still have Ohio before we get to Indiana. So let's keep on moving and eating these chocolate things. Urban garden. Tomatoes, eggplants, doggies.
Scrambled eggs with cream cheese and chives, and Indian railway potatoes with mustard seed and onion.
What did we just devour here?
This is a product of Hurricane Katrina, when the diaspora of Louisiana fled to other climates and locations. So here we have Louisiana sauce, slap on rice.
And it's
It
delicious.
tastes like thick soup, and it makes you happy.
After a few more rainy hours of driving, I have arrived back at my mom's house just outside of Chicago, and it's time to unpack some of our goodies, some of the fastening machines and rocks and everything else that we got, and pull some stuff out of the car and have a day's, or at least a night's rest, and begin a new adventure next week, tomorrow. See you then.